The 1821 setup. Just last weekend we were down south riding it. He has back 8,000, 72 volt, 1821-inch wheel setup, and it's by far the fastest ride on a Surron I've had. It handled everything incredibly well. But with the 1821 comes wanting a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that. That is definitely a premium option over there. Expect to spend a lot more money with an 1821 setup. I can't think of a single customer who's done an 1821 that did not do power upgrades. So once you do 1821, you've put yourself on a more expensive path with power upgrades, battery upgrades, and things like that.
What you feel with an 1821, obvious height difference, so way more comfortable bike. When I ride Brian's bike, you can see the height difference here. It's so much taller, it feels like a motorcycle, which is great. I love it.
Yeah, the seat height is dramatically taller on an 1821.
Yeah.
So if you want to make your bike bigger, that is the best way to do it.
If you're a taller rider, Brian and I are both around 6 feet tall. This is a great size. So 1821, great for height. You may enjoy the faster rollover of all the bumps. It's very smooth, right? It keeps its speed once you kind of get going really well. But you may feel a little bit more flex in your fork. You may feel the swing arm flexing just a little bit because it is a bigger and heavier wheel setup on a Surron.
You definitely feel more flex in the chassis. The chassis was not made for that size wheel set, but it does work really good. We've pounded this bike through whoops, we've hit jumps, and it's handled it really, really well. We've not broken anything on this bike despite the power and the large wheels.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so we talked about the 1919 option, which is the least expensive route. We talked about 1619 that's on Nathan's bike, and that's sort of a intermediate route, but it's also the highest performing version of our wheel and tire setups. Now we're on the 1821. This is the bike I've ridden this past year, and this is a very premium option. You're doubling the cost of the wheel upgrade because not only are you upgrading the rear, but you've also got to upgrade the front to a 21-inch. Let me show some of our favorite tire options now. You've probably seen in some of our videos, this is a Tuss T35 up front, and for quite a while we were putting that tire on the front of all of our 21-inch installs, or most of them. And the reason we did that is because the Tuss tires are incredible bang for your buck. They're inexpensive and they perform really, really well. We have since stopped putting the Tusk up front, and we now put the Michelin Starcross up there. This Michelin Starcross is now our go-to 21-inch tire. If you go look in our tire weight charts on our website, it's not the lightest 21-inch tire, but it is among the lightest, especially with a full motocross knobby design. Midas makes a couple tires that are quite a bit lighter than this one, but you'll see that they have much smaller knobbies on them, almost a little bit more like a trials tire. So if you want a 21-inch with ultra minimum weight, the Midas is the way to go. We have a very hard time keeping those in stock. We're trying to get our distributor to up our supplies. It's a whole supply chain problem that we're trying to fix. So hopefully in the future, we'll have more of those Midas tires, because I know there's quite a few guys out there that want those. Now in the rear, unfortunately, we just blew through all of our 1821s, thanks to all of you guys that bought them. I actually don't have any 18-inch tires in the shop right now to hold here and show you, but we'll splice in some photos. On the rear of mine, MX-33, it's a 90-118. That is the only size that fits on the back without modifying the tire. There's two tires that come in that size, and they're both Dunlop. You've got the MX-33, which is what's here, and then you've got the K990. They both fit really good. They're actually really lightweight, so if you look at our weight charts, They're not nearly as heavy as you would expect them to be. So it's turned into a very good upgrade with still an increase in weight, but not an overly dramatic increase like some of the motocross tires that are 12 and 13 pounds and are so heavy you would never want to put them on a Surron. Okay, so you might be thinking now, well, I just want an 1821. 1821 is what everybody talks about in all the forums and online and on YouTube. But there's a bit of a dirty secret about the 1821s. They are significantly heavier, they're bigger, and the problem with that is it takes more energy from your battery. It reduces your power quite noticeably. You feel more flex in your chassis. I mentioned some of the cons, the weight and the size and the extra flex you feel in the chassis. Let me talk about the pros now. So this is a bigger wheel. So just like on a mountain bike, going from a 26 or a 27 up to a 29, that extra radius means that the tires roll over terrain a little bit easier. So rocks or roots or whatever your terrain happens to be, the bike does roll over that type of terrain a little easier, a little bit faster. The other pro is we've made this bike physically larger, and it does feel like a legitimate motorcycle at this point. I can't really think of any terrain that I don't have confidence in with this bike. Very happy with this setup. There are some situations where I actually still prefer the 1619. You'll see videos of us in very tight and technical terrain where we're ducking under branches and lots of turns and trees. In those types of situations, the 1619 is actually better than the 1821. It turns better, it's more nimble, it feels lighter, it's just more maneuverable. And so the 1821 is not just the end-all be-all once you get a bike like this. There are still situations where the 1619 will outperform this. Another one of those being the turn track that we do lap times on the 1619 so far has always outperformed the 1821 in that situation if it's on an equal bike. What's going to happen if you go to an 1821? If you're aggressive in the least bit and you enjoy speed, you're going to want power upgrades. So just know that if you do an 1821 setup, you are probably putting yourself on a path for power upgrades. This bike, I ran most of this year with about 4,000 at first 8.5 kilowatts, and then we went up to 12 kilowatts once we put the upgraded battery in there, which you can do with 60 volt and 72 volt. Now I'm up to the back 8,000 on here, running at 72 volt and 15 kilowatts. It's too much power for this bike. It's a lot of fun. And it really makes this bike feel closer to a full-size motocross bike. The things we're doing on this bike now, it's pretty incredible. We'll splice in some video and you'll see that there's not a whole lot we can't do on this bike. It is still a short wheelbase, so some of the hill climbs and stuff like that you're not going to do as well as a big motocross bike, but it's when people ride this bike, they are completely blown away.
Man, he's so fast! I tried my best. Oh, this thing goes fast.
Does it?
Like if you find those ruts, I feel so much comfortable because I feel like it's so light you're not gonna break out of it. No, this thing's so light, like it has enough power to like loop you out of it, but if you can control it, it just goes right through, and I don't know, it feels more comfortable than a motorcycle trying to go through those.
I guess we better catch him. Go ahead.
All right.